they have to pay a precept levelled by this council. Madam Mayor, we are the custodians of that precept. We are the custodians of the public purse. And I do not believe that the electorate of this town want their precept payments wasted in this way. The sculpture in Scarborough on the Marine Drive and the sculpture of the angler in Filey were gifts to both towns. Any cobbled sculpture should be a gift from whoever, and not a financial waste of the public purse which we levy on the people of this town. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Has anybody got any questions for Councillor Haddington? Councillor Haxby.
I fully support Colin. I've talked to the oldest working fisherman in Filey, and he's totally against it. He thinks it's absolutely ridiculous, as do many of the others. You've probably seen what I put on media the other day, that there is a proper working cobble for sale for 6,000. You know, not a metal replica that we're never going to see in its life. But we've got a cobble up at the Yacht Club. There are boats in Northcliffe Gardens at the bottom of Cargate Hill. There's a boat at Station Avenue. Alright, they're not big cobbles, but they are boats. You know, people are coming, they want to see a proper boat. Not a steel sort of record. Unfortunately, this was passed when I was on holiday, or maybe fortunately for some, because I think they'd have known what I'd have said. However, when I came back, the first meeting I was back, I managed to get the minute changed to we pledged up to 19,000, which means we could even pledge £1 and still be within the terms of the minute. However, we are 6 months out now, and as Councillor Haddington says, the people of this town are not paying their precept to buy a 19,000 2/3 share in a steel boat that we'll never go to see. We've wasted enough money on the Margaret.
Yes.
I don't know how many thousand we pledged to that, but it was an awful lot of money, and that ended up rotting at the back of the port. So I would support Councillor Haddington in rescinding that minute.
Thank you. Can I just bring Councillor Wilkie, then Councillor Robertson, and then we'll go back to speak.
I think what I was going to say to Councillor Propagate has already been mentioned about all that information. Most of it has already been brought forward, but you're right, we haven't, all I've seen, if I can remember rightly, is some sort of photocopy of a sketch of a Filey cobble. We've always said it's up to 19,000, as far as I can remember, and it was brought forward because as far as I can remember, some of the criticisms were we don't think about our council, tourism or the heritage of the town and this and the other, and that was why it was brought forward as recognising the heritage of Filey. You know, I'm not really that bothered it's a metal cobble. If there was anything, I would prefer it to be a wooden one, but that has its own problem with all the maintenance, etc. But Councillor Cockrell's not come forward with any concrete plans like it's been asked for. So, you know, to me, you know, it can't be that important if nothing's progressed so quickly. But you know, we said up to 19,000 with a view to Councillor Cockrell finding more funding. Maybe that was a mistake, because then obviously no further funding has been sought, but that is drawing your own conclusions for that. But I would now support Councillor Haddington and look at rescinding this minute and thinking again about what we should do.
I'm bringing Councillor Robertson, there's quite a few people want to speak. You don't just, okay, Councillor Gage.
Okay, so if we go down the path of rescinding this minute, can we have a discussion then about an alternative cobble, something to celebrate the heritage, which is what people have said they wanted to see. I know a little bit about Margaret and the funding. I've spoken at length to somebody who knows quite a lot about the actual, you know, working of a boat, and I know it isn't without its difficulties, but I just think it would be quite a draw for Filey, and I know it would be a huge undertaking, and I know it's been done with the Margaret to a degree, but I just think there's a real energy at the moment in Filey about our heritage, about the Queen Street Gardens, and if you kind of encompass getting, I've just had a vision of some horses throwing a cobble out to sea, doing pleasure rides, you know, holidays, weekends, and I know it doesn't come without its problems, because there has to be a walk all the time, certainly, but I think it's something that we could possibly explore, and even if we don't have an original cobble out to sea all the time, then maybe we could have one purchased by the council that we can use for festivals, get the horses like they used to do in days gone by, get the horses on lifeboat day, towing the cobble around Filey.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, I'm just thinking of insurance and health and safety and all that.
No, I appreciate that, but surely sometimes we've got to think outside box. It would be a massive draw. I think it would celebrate our heritage in a wonderful way, and it would be quite a spectacle, and it would bring people in, and that's what Filey needs.
Can I just say something, Councillor Gage,
Yeah.
that I totally appreciate your enthusiasm, and I think some of your ideas are splendid, but I do believe we might have to put that on the next agenda, because now we have had the proposal put forward, we have to deal with that first. And I also have Councillor Shackleton that would like to speak next, and Councillor Hackney. But thank you, we can put that on the next agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, look, it's not about money. We have included in the 1920 budget an amount for this colour.
2020.
1920, sorry.
Just after the war, John. Just after the war.
Yeah, for me it's not about the money, it's about, recognising Filey's heritage, and that's why the council at that time made that decision. Like Councillor Rourke, I see nothing wrong with a steel cobble. In fact, I presume it would look like a work of art, a piece of modern art, which we see all around the country these days, celebrating the area's history. Finlay, down on the seafront, has looked a huge success. It tells its own story, tells the story of Filey fishing, and it's photographed by absolutely thousands and thousands of people. And I'm sure that a steel cobble or a work of art on the landing, call it what you want, I'm sure it would attract just the same attention.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shackleton. Councillor Hackney.
The original idea was to get a proper cobble, cut one side out,
Yes.
put seats in it, and let kids sit there and have a photograph taken, sat in a boat, etc., etc. That was the original concept. But then we couldn't get the Margaret to do that. But I would ask you, who's going to benefit from it really? If people want to see a working cobble, they'll go to Scarland, they'll go to Bridge, they'll go to Redcar, they'll go to Robin Hood's Bay, they'll go to all these little spots that still have working cobbles, and they'll see them going off in fleets. One on Filey Cobble Landing isn't going to make a lot of difference. I'm sorry, I don't believe it is. The only people that would benefit are the traders down on the cobble landing, and how much are they putting into it?
Are we discussing the metal one here, or are we discussing the...
It doesn't matter, anyone.
Right, okay.
But what I would say is that morally I would not normally discuss this without the person that proposed it being there. But he came to this council with a fait accompli. He'd done all the designs, he'd got all the costings, he worked out exactly how much this council needed to provide without any reference to us. So morally I feel no compunction in discussing it now without him being here. And I agree with Colin, and I would say.
Thank you. Just before I bring you in, Councillor, can I just get some legalities from the party regarding having this discussion without the proposer of the actual...
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem, legally fine.
Not a
Go
problem.
ahead and have a vote.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Councillor Mills. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody so that you all knew that we were doing things correctly. Councillor Mills.
I agree with what Councillor Haxley said. Quite a few fishermen have said metal cobbles doesn't really matter, fishing's gone from Filey kind of thing. And I do agree to a certain extent with what you're saying about the costings, and it's a lot of money, but I think because the council said it could be up to 19,000, so like you said it could be 1,000, I just feel a little bit uncomfortable that Councillor Cockfill isn't here to actually answer the questions that Councillor Gage put forward. I just think it's a little bit underhand.
That's what I said.
Councillor.
So can I just standing order E to bring Councillor Katie in?
Thank you very much. I'm just reading Councillor Cochrane's report to the Cabinet when he had a proposal. And he's more or less indicated that the full pledges have been received to cover the total cost of 30k, and it's been approved by Farnham Town Council, so he's indicating that you will approve from 19,000. The only thing that Scarborough's putting in here, 5k from the borough's Community Investment Fund, so that's all they're putting in. I just thought I'd give you that information.
Councillor Crosswell, for Standard Order C3A.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just really to support Councillor Addington, because on the report that came from the borough, that written by Mr Edwards, said that both myself and Councillor Addington at the time were against the project, you know what I mean? Because I feel strongly that when they're spending that sort of money, it should be spent on the youth in the town. The skate park should happen, you know what I mean? And that's where money that should be spent doing something for the youth of the town. And I think sadly, often we look at tourists, we look at, you know, and we forget that we've got our kids don't have anything in the town, and there's grandkids as well. So, you know, I think it should be set for the youth of the town.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now end the adjournment, and any members of the council can speak. Councillor Mills.
I do fully get what everybody is saying, but I still would like to propose that we have this discussion when Councillor Coxwell is here to answer the questions that Councillor Gage put forward, and also if he knew that it's up to 19 and we spoke and then we proposed we don't want to spend 19, we're only prepared to spend a certain amount, then it's up to him to then go away, and if he can find the funding for all of it, or all of it bar a small amount, then obviously it would be a completely different discussion. I just think it's a bit harsh to rescind it without him present to discuss the question.
Thank you. Councillor Shackleton.
I'd just like to agree with Councillor Mills. And Councillor Mills has already intimated that she would prefer to get more information from Councillor Coxwell before taking any further action. And just to make Councillor Cross aware, we already have money allocated for the skate park in capital spend. We have a set amount.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to hand over, oh sorry.
Just one more thing.
Councillor Robinson.
It was on the agenda, so he knows it's going to be discussed.
We didn't put it on, sorry, we didn't put it on the agenda until we knew he wasn't going to be here.
What?
It wasn't put on, when it was put on the agenda, I highlighted the fact that he wouldn't be here. It was in the finance meeting, wasn't it? I did highlight the fact that he wouldn't be here, so he did know it was there, but he already wasn't going to be here, if you see what I mean.
Councillor Wilkie.
Yeah, to move things on, can we defer this to the next council meeting to discuss again?
One moment, sorry, I'm just going to bring Councillor Gage back in, because it was her original thing that she put on the agenda, and then I'm going to go to the clerk to get full legality of what we're discussing tonight and where we can go from that, so that we make sure we're good for. Councillor Gage.
Okay, so at this stage then, what I personally don't like the idea of a metal cobble, but from what John has said and Councillor Mills has said, I think I would prefer that we have a discussion about it when Councillor Coxwell is here. My proposal is that he provides us with all that information that I have requested on here in terms of the next full council, and then we can look at what we think of it, and we can take Councillor Hamilton's proposal whether or not we receive that funding at that stage. That's what I would.
I'll just hand over to the clerk to make sure that we're doing everything within the legal system for the council. Thank you.
Just to make it clear, my understanding as of how we stand at the moment is we have a proposal, well we have in fact have two proposals.
Yeah.
The first proposal is from Councillor Haddington and seconded by Councillor...
So the first proposal by Councillor
Well...
because she brought it on.
No, the first proposal was from Councillor Haddington, which was seconded by Councillor Haxby, which is effectively to rescind the minute regarding the resolution to spend up to £19,000 as part of the costs for the cobble. We then have a second proposal from Councillor Gage, which is yet to be seconded, but it doesn't really matter. Seconded by Councillor Mills.
It's actually an amendment.
So it's an amended, so we then have to, what we have to do is we have to vote, first of all, on the amended proposal. If that is agreed upon, and with a majority of people, that becomes a substantive proposal, and then we vote on it again to see whether or not that substantive proposal is passed or not. Is that clear?
No.
That was clear.
Right, so what we need to do then is,
Yes.
okay, then you need to propose.
Right. So my proposal, right, sorry.
Sorry, Councillor, did you
Well,
want
can I just say that rescinding the minute does not negate this council from providing funding. If Councillor Cockrell comes up with a reasonable argument for providing the funding and design, this council can then decide to spend the money. Rescinding the minute doesn't alter that whatsoever.
are you not proposing that?
So that's why I'm backing Councillor Haddington. It doesn't make any difference. You can still vote at the next
But if
meeting.
it doesn't make
Suspend it again.
We can have two proposals, we don't need an amendment. We can vote on the proposal I've made to rescind the minute, and then to take it forward, we can have an agreement that it's brought back to council as an agenda item again, which will give Councillor Gage her want on the matter.
Councillor Mills?
I'm confused because I thought Councillor Gage proposed hers, because she said at the end that is what I proposed.
But it wasn't seconded though, that's
I second, but Councillor Paddington had already got in. I literally was that I second and I had to be quiet because Councillor Paddington was
I think that this is going to be so long, so I don't know whether the idea is to watch the video and make sure there's a what, or take your advice and see.
I definitely
I'm quite happy to advise the fact that, as Councillor Haddington says, they're not, one does not preclude the other.
Oh.
Right, so
Right.
one does not preclude the other, then we shall go ahead.
So if you vote on either of them,
Yes.
or vote on them separately, because it doesn't, as Councillor Haxby rightly says, if there's a decision to rescind, it doesn't mean that we're not going to spend any money, because we can redo it once we get the information, and that's really up to the council to agree or disagree upon that proposal.
Well, I've got Councillor Gage and Councillor Wilkie, then Councillor Mills, and then we're making a decision.
Right, just for my own clarification, if we vote to rescind the minute and it isn't rescinded, then what happens? It still stands that funding that has been agreed?
Yes, it still stands.
Can that same vote be brought back again, or can that only be at the next council meeting? Or is it 6 months?
So another 6 months.
That's another 6 months.
6 months if
For
you
the,
rescind the
yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
The money is for it.
And it's a metal cobble. It's the £19,000 for the plans that we don't know.
Yeah.
Shall I read you that minute?
Can
that
you
was minute?
just a second, because I've got Councillor Wilkie in next. Do you want to come in a little while, Councillor Guzzle?
Sorry, I was just going to say I've got the minutes book where we
Right,
I've
named
got one thing I was going to say, but I'm sure that we said up to £19,000
We did.
on the basis that we agreed what the design
Yes.
was.
Yes, that was an awful lot that you have to meet to get that.
So if we don't like the design, we can vote against spending that money. That's how I understand it.
Councillor Mills?
That is also how I understood it. If it's up to 19,000, then we can just say no. So why rescind the minute when the councillor isn't here to answer any questions? It just feels like... I don't
Have
know.
you got the minutes, Councillor Guzzle? You can read out now with clarity for everybody. A bit
on
more
the
then.
14th of November last year, minute number 181/18 states cobble replica. Members have been circulated with further details of the above, which was proposed for cobble landing, and Borough Councillor Cockrell, when asked about future maintenance, etc., replied that the Borough Council would take on responsibility for this in the future. A consensus of opinion from members present supported this project. Councillor Holden Banks proposed, seconded by Councillor Anthony, that the Town Council fund the deficit of up to 19,000 and that this amount be placed in the 2019-2020 budget. Resolved, Council resolved to approve the above proposal to fund a deficit of up to 19A and this amount to be placed in the 2019-2020 budget.
It's either. One doesn't preclude the other.
But I'm starting to get clarification from the clerk there that one doesn't prove the other, so if Are we wanting to move this on? Do you want to say one more thing there?
I'd like to ask the clerk's clarification on if it's up to 19,000 and the deficit is 19,000.
That's what.
Do we have to fund the full 19,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not what I was always led to believe. I was led to believe we were funded.
Now I've heard that minute,
Yeah.
I'm even more determined to propose what I've
Yeah.
asked.
Right, so we'll go to you, Councillor Gage, because you were the first one to do the, well, it was on your turn. Do you want to, what was your proposal now after all this time? I know what Councillor Haddon said, we can go with that one first, because now we can do both. Or are you happy to?
I'm just a bit, my proposal was to get more information, that was my proposal, that I wanted before, with a view to actually rescinding it at some point if the information still wasn't forthcoming. Because personally, I don't agree that £19,000 on metal cobble is the best use of public money. I think
So,
that's
can you just do your proposal and we'll get it seconded and then we can vote and then we can do the next one, because otherwise we're going to be discussing this forevermore.
Yeah, what I'm hearing from some councillors, Chair, you know, this council's been slated for years and years for not spending money and doing things in fibre, and we get the opportunity to do something and we're still slated.
Not particularly, Madam Mayor, it's where you spend it and what you spend it on, and it has to be spent correctly.
Councillor
Councillors
Randall.
at the time thought it was correct.
Sorry, Chair, I think it's just we needed clarification on what was agreed beforehand, because coming into this new, we don't know what the proposal
Do you
was.
feel you've got clarification from Councillor Goodman reading that to you now?
No, I still think that we need to see the plans and the design and what was actually envisaged, because I think we're at a loss as
So
to...
we're well aware that you're all at a loss, so you need to put your proposal, if you're going to do so.
can I just say one further thing?
Yes, of course.
So this is my proposal, to get more information. With a view to, if the information isn't forthcoming, then we can look at rescinding it in respect of that. So therefore, if we then go to vote to rescind this minute at this point, when we're not all in possession of the total of facts we need, then it can't be brought forward to rescind the £19,000 funding for a bronze cobble for another 6 months. That's what I just think everybody needs to be aware of. So if we're voting on my thing, I personally don't think we should vote on rescinding it at the moment. I think we should leave that for another day. That's what I think.
I still aren't clear what you're proposing.
Right, I am proposing
Just need a proposal and a seconder, then we can have a vote on
that
it.
we get detailed, what I've said then.
Yes.
So really make note of this, please, Mr. Clark. Sorry, everyone here. Detailed costing, status of the funding, how much funding is coming from which individual sources, full plans, a timescale, details of the exact location, siting of the cobble, and will it incur any ongoing maintenance.
Right.
That's my
Right, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you very much. Right, do we have a vote on that, please, on the proposal that Councillor Gage has put forward to get more information? So, that's everybody apart from Councillor Hackney and Councillor Robbins.
Well, on my proposal.
Yes, Are you ready, David? Right, Councillor Haddington, would you like to put your proposal forward?
I would like to propose that we rescind the previous minute of the Town Council that said that they would agree to up to £19,000 deficit. And for clarity through you for Councillor Randall, even though we get all the information and it goes ahead, if there is a deficit of £19,000, this council has to pay it unless this minute is rescinded.
Right, I understand that, yeah.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hackney. So you all clear what you're voting on here? Okay, so can we have
Before we vote, you voted on the other one.
That's correct, yeah.
It's a separate proposal.
It's a separate one.
So I too, sorry, through you, I would too would like to see all the facts.
Yes,
But
okay.
I'm not happy in this council being tied down to a decision that was made by the previous council that could cost us £19,000, which is deficit council taxpayers' money.
Okay, right, so we've got a first, so we've got a secondary. Can we have some order, please, everybody? We're going to vote, Mr. Councillor Mills, I'm sorry, we can't keep labouring
No, but
this
we
anymore.
were just saying we're confused because surely we just go with Councillor Gage's proposal, and then when we've got the information, then that would happen then.
I think what Councillor
That's what
Hamilton is
I'm
saying is it's up to 19,000, and his proposal is that if it comes in at 19,000, we are obliged as a council to pay the full 19,000 on his proposal going forward. So that's what his proposal is, because if the deficit is up to 19, it's just been made clear tonight that we would have to pay the full 19. Whereas everybody thought it was up to.
But we haven't asked Councillor Cockrell if he can get it.
It's in the minutes.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that we're going to
Well, it
receive.
doesn't matter.
Okay, fine, whatever. Whatever vote.
Right, last one, Councillor Chapman. We are, thank you. So can we have a vote on that, please? We've got a first and second there. Right, vote please for Councillor Hamilton. Right, thank you. Raise your hands, please, those that wish to get the vote through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Just raise hands again.
No, I'll vote for that.
Yes.
I'll vote for that.
Never known so many people vote twice.
Separate proposals.
Separate proposals, aren't they?
Two separate proposals.
Right, we're moving on now. Right, okay, so we'll just move on now. Number 19, you'll be very happy to all hear this when Councillor Case is finished having a stroke in the corner. This council confirmed the date and time for the next ordinary council meeting is Wednesday the 10th of July 2019, commencing at 7 o'clock in the council chamber. Thank you for attending. Anna Curtin.
Can I just apologise to you, Madam Mayor, for my attitude towards the end of that discussion? I shouldn't have.
Thank you very much. That's greatly received.
It's not finished.